So we're keeping our eye on that one. There are several bills that have been filed that's related to parental consent of a minor. There is a House Bill 4757. It was also by the House 3M subcommittee last week. It rewrites the minor consent rules, parental access to records, and provider disclosure duties. So as I mentioned, that's House Bill 4757. We encourage you to look at that one if you've got time. It is up in the full committee this week. There is a companion Senate bill, and that has not received any movement yet, but we're watching that one as well. There are two bills that deal with reproductive health oversight and clinical standards. House Bill 4639. It was actually introduced the first week of session and is pending in the House in a House subcommittee. It authorizes the BME to incorporate fertility and reproductive medicine training, standards, and guidance into physician oversight. Because you guys are mentioned specifically and that would change some of your duties, we wanted to bring that to your attention. Let's see. Forgive me, I don't mean to go so fast, but there was a lot that I wanted to cover for you guys. There are 6 different abortion-related bills that have been introduced this session. You may have recalled back in the fall of 2025, the Senate Medical Affairs Committee heard and took testimony on Senate Bill 323, which would have criminalized abortion-inducing drugs. And that bill actually received an unfavorable report by the Senate Medical Affairs Committee and still sits in that committee for review. So the other bills I will be happy to share with them. They are not as broad reaching as that bill, but there are several components in each that would restrict abortion in one way or another. So I'll be happy to send those over to Jessica to share with you guys. Let's see. So we also have an artificial intelligence bill, Senate Bill 788. It was just introduced this past week. It would prohibit psychiatrists from using AI to interact with patients, to generate treatment plans, detect emotions, and make clinical decisions without written notice and consent. That is pending in the Senate Medical Affairs Committee. It has not been added to an agenda, but did want to bring that to your attention. And if you also recall back in the fall, there were multiple scope of practice bills that were taken up by the Senate Medical Affairs Committee. We had Senate Bill 44 related to physician assistants, expanding their scope. Senate Bill 45, the APRN bill, expanding their scope. And then there was a team-based healthcare bill, Senate Bill 669. All three of those bills were heard and testimony received twice in the Senate Medical Affairs Committee in the fall. No action was taken on those bills, so they still reside in that committee, and we're watching them closely. So those are the bills that I wanted to bring before you today. Like I said, there's many more. If you ever have a question, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions or flag any bills that may be of interest to you. But I'm happy to take questions now if you have any.
I was just curious, where do the perfusionists sit now? Are they under the DHEC? Is this like athletic trainers they're moving over, or?
That's a great question, Dr. Wright. I'm not sure. I'll have to research that for you. I'll definitely
Okay.
make a note.
I just want to take a look at what their scope is now and things like that. So, because if they do move over, we're going to have to look at those things, or at least maybe opine on them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'll check into it for you.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Jim Chow. So on those
Yeah.
bills regarding regulatory issue, do they reach out to you all or reach out to the medical board for opinion or witness, answering questions?
Oftentimes, both sides, the House and Senate staff, will reach out to us to analyze the bill from a fiscal impact standpoint. And you will notice if you visit those bills online, they all have a fiscal impact statement that any other type of
So,
language is ambiguous, and that we're able to interpret and implement. Beyond
Virginia,
that,
I'm sorry, you're
most of
breaking up
those.
really bad. We're only getting maybe every other sentence.
All right, I'm going to turn my video off. Maybe that's a problem. Hang on one second. Okay, can you hear me now?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So as I was mentioning, oftentimes we are approached by the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office to draft or assist in drafting a fiscal impact to the boards of any bill that's coming across. And so we did contribute in that way, and you're able to pull up those fiscal impacts online and see them. Other times we are approached by staff to ensure that the language is written in a way that the boards can interpret and is not ambiguous in any way. Or if we notice something that's ambiguous, we will oftentimes reach out and say, what does this mean, to get clarity? But from a policy standpoint, Dr. Chow, we don't typically engage as an agency or a board. So I hope that answers your question. But
It does very well. Thank you.
any other questions for me? Okay, well, thanks for having me. Please reach out to me if we can ever be of assistance. We're just a call away.
Thank you.
And just Jim, to follow up on your question, and for the new members, certainly a lot of those hearings are open hearings, and you can give an opinion as a as a physician in South Carolina, but make clear that you're not making a position of the Board of Medicine or for any other organization. But you can certainly, as a physician, give testimony or opinion on the impact that it has on you. Is that correct,
Thank you.
Bob?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, next is our administrator report.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Wright. I wanted to just talk about how 2025 went. So I put in a memo into the board's folder, a memo about what happened in 2020, 2025, and then a little bit of a preview of 2026. And so just wanted to go over a couple highlights. We had a very busy year in 2025 with renewals. We had a couple hiccups, but I think we've made some adjustments towards the end of the year with our renewals. And we were able to license about 4,300 new licensees. I know last year had a few more folks in 2024, but we did take over about 1,000 athletic trainers. So licensing continues to be busy. We're able to attend the Federation of State Medical Boards training, 2 trainings that they had. And in 2026, we look to do training. We look to do a couple new things. The agency as a whole is looking at doing implementing some AI and reviewing applications to get making sure that folks are uploading the correct documents to help us smooth the process out for folks. So if you are uploading a passport, it's going to make sure it's a passport. Those kind of small things that can sometimes delay the process if something was submitted incorrectly. So I think 2026 is going to be an exciting year for that being implemented. And then we do have athletic trainers renewing as well. So with that, happy to answer any questions about that report I put in. Otherwise, I can continue if that works for you.
I have one question. Last year, we appointed some people and voted on some people for a review committee or some a committee we put together. I've had a couple of those individuals reach out to me that no one's contacted them, or they was just wondering what the status of that is.
Sure, I'll be happy to reach out to them. I know we were a little bit delayed in getting out those appointment letters, but I'll make sure I'll double check. If you have any particular folks, I'd be happy to reach out. We had a couple times where we put together panels, but we hardly had any cases this year that required folks, so we didn't do as much reaching out as we have in years past. But I'd be happy to make sure that all of those letters went out. I know, like I said, I know there was a delay, but I'd be happy to.
Yeah,
to
I think it was Dr. Mark Jones in Columbia, Dr. Patrice Weiss in Columbia, and Dr. Wes Lau in Greenville had reached out to me, wondering
Wonderful.
what was
I did reach out to them, and they did get their copies of their letters just later than anticipated. So
Yeah, they just want to know if they were missing something. In other words, I guess because you said there hasn't been any activity, so maybe if we just reach out to everyone that we've appointed on those every once in a while, saying all's good, we just haven't had any activity. Just suggestion.
that's a great idea. We can certainly do that.
Any other questions from the board?
Excellent. Well, then next couple topics are related to our committees. So our physician assistant committee met in January. We have a new committee member that was introduced to that committee. We did some training with them following that January meeting. We will be looking at having a vacancy on the committee. The chair will be coming off. So we've asked the committee members to send any potential interested candidates into staff to get to the board, but their next meeting is in July. The respiratory committee met in January. They began discussing some freestanding emergency rooms and virtual respiratory therapists, and have a specially called meeting planned for March 2nd. The Acupuncture Advisory Committee, we were able to get appointment letters sent out from the November meeting. Been trying to work on scheduling a meeting, but we did have one additional member submit, or an additional person submit for interest to fill the final acupuncture seat. And if the board had a chance to review the CV that is in the board secure, we'd be happy to, if the board finds them acceptable, we could have a motion to appoint another member of the acupuncture committee.
So available within your packet was the CV and other information concerning the nominee for the acupuncture committee. Does anybody have any questions about the individual or the position? Okay, hearing none. This is Dr. Wright. I would make a motion that we accept. And the name, Jessica?
The name, I apologize for not having that up. It is acupuncturist Silver. Mr. Silver, first name. One moment, I am so sorry.
Take your time.
Adobe's not opening, so I apologize.
Ellen Silver.
Ellen Silver.
Lynn
Uh,
Silver.
So again,
Ellen,
Dr. Wright
E-L-L-E-N. Sorry.
makes a motion that this individual be appointed to the acupuncture committee. Is there a second?
Diltz second.
Any discussion?
I have a
Hearing
quick question. I have a
Sure.
quick question. Is there still a physician on the acupuncture committee?
Yes, there are two physician members. We just appointed new appointees at the November meeting.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, hands down. Any opposed? I don't see any hands up, so it's unanimous.
Thank you for
All right.
that.
Jessica?
Next, we met with the anesthesiologist assistants committee in October, and we plan to meet again in April. The Joint Podiatric Advisory Surgery Advisory Committee is scheduled to meet in May. And the next item we have on the agenda is the FSMB 2026 Trauma Informed Regulation Training Session. I did have a memo in the Board Secure folder. The FSMB is putting together training on trauma informed regulation, and they've invited board members to boards to attend. There is 2 scholarships available, and if anyone is interested in attending, it's coming up at the end of this month. I'm sorry for the late update on it, but they just sent us a reminder or a note that it was available, and so if possible, staff would like to attend on behalf of the board, if the board would authorize travel. And if anyone else is interested, if a board member is interested in attending, there is a scholarship for a board member as well.
That it?
Yes, on that one, yes.
Okay,
So
it looks,
if we'd be okay to do a motion to authorize staff to attend training?
yes, Dr. Wright making a motion that the board authorizes the LLR-BME staff to attend the Federation of State Medical Boards meeting for training. Is there a second?
Diltz second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, everyone in favor, hands up. All right, hands down. Any opposed? I don't see any opposition, so the motion carries unanimously. Now we're going to have to do some electronic trickery, I think, because we have to go to closed session, I believe.
We do, Dr. Wright, just to clarify that motion, is it okay? So we had there's 2 trainings. One is the trauma informed regulation training, and then there's the FSMB annual meeting. Was that motion for both trainings, authorizing staff to move forward?
I would say it's inclusive, unless there's any other input from the board. Hearing none, it's inclusive. Well,
Thank you.
all right, so I guess now we'll go to closed session because we have to get the ODE report in closed session.
Yes. So we do have breakout sessions available. So our wonderful IT staff who's on here with us will help us move any folks that aren't supposed to be in this into the lobby. And it looks like we might have done that, or we've started that process. So if anyone has been in the meeting is not supposed to be, we'll be moving you over to that lobby and bringing you back for open session.
Let me know, we can go on.
Yeah, that's great. Let me just
I don't
one
see-
moment.
I don't see anybody who's not supposed to be in here.
We have our first MU, the Dr. Elston in here, so let me
Yeah,
move.
I'm still here. Do you want me to log out and log back in if you're
Oh,
having trouble moving me?
We should
You
be
should
able to
move.
move you.
Oh,
So
okay.
give us just a moment here. Perfect. I think with that, I think we've got everyone else who can and should be in here.
I'm still here.
He's still there. Yeah.
Oh,
I can log out.
goodness.
Just let me know what you want me to do.
And Bob, would the court reporter stay?
Yes, court reporter stays. But Dr. Elston is still here. Yeah, we have to go into close.
Oh, gotcha.
Tell Mika we have to go into closed session. Where's the
Gotcha.
chat?
And just to let you know, I'm still here. I'm just moving around a lot and I didn't want to make anybody dizzy.
So I don't hold you guys up. Do you want me just to log off and you shoot me an email when you want me back on?
We can certainly do that, Dr. Elston. That'd be great.
Okay. That way I'm not holding you up. Okay.
Thank you.
So I have moved everyone into a closed session, in a breakout session. They should have gotten an invite at their bottom to get off this main meeting to have a meeting to the side.
Okay, I think it looks like we have everyone else that we needed out of the meeting out.
No, but I think we're still streaming.
We're still streaming, yes, of course. So there should be a breakout session at the bottom, letting them know to join this session.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
I do
Mm-mm,
not.
I don't see it either.
I think yours, because we're on the same account. I don't see your name. Okay, hold on, let me.
Oh, okay.
Say join now. Breakout
Yeah, so
session.
everybody except that, yes. So we can go off the YouTube streaming.
Let me know when we can proceed. Do we have the OIE members on? Is it just us in the meeting now? I see 4 of us. 3.
Uh-oh, we may disappear and never come back, so I don't know.
I guess they're just letting us in one at a time.
Yeah.
Nope, someone's back. I can call Bob and find out what's going on. Never mind. Are we good, Jessica?
We are, I think, just adding the last folks here. Oh, actually, give me. I think that now we're in the main meeting, so we need to just pull us over.
I think the problem is because we got the same shared account. That's what's causing this issue.
Do you want me to log out?
Um,
I'll log out so you
yeah,
can do
yeah,
that.
you go ahead and log out, come back as yourself, and I'll place you into that session.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
We all have to log out or no? Just
Oh, you all are good. I'm gonna log out myself. So give
okay.
me just a moment.
Okay, Bob sent a message. Okay, and Ms. Mackey says she'll log out. So,
I have to give it's asking me to give someone the host duties.
give it, oh, because we were using the same name.
You want me to give it to Bob?
Yeah, give it to Bob,
Okay.
and then tell Bob to send it back. Okay, Nicole, I think you're supposed to be in that workout. And Dr. Wright, that's you, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let me add you to the breakout session. I think you are. You should have gotten a message at the bottom.
I'm looking now in the chat.
It should have pop up saying join now for a breakout session.
I don't see. Can you resend it?
I'm about to move you now. Okay, let's see if I can. Yeah, this is let me do this and then let me add you back.
I see it. Join now.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for being there too while I start doing that. All right. All right. Okay. All right. I think that's it.
I don't see a little thingy though.
Are you supposed to be in the breakout session too?
I'm assuming I'm on the board. So yeah, I think I'm running the next
Okay.
part.
Oh, okay. My bad. Oh, let me ask them. Lindsay. I'm about to say everybody was in that breakout session. They could just. Oh, well, it's got to go and close. That's why. She's in the other room. Add her too. Give me 1 second. So basically, we're doing this so that this way it won't be streamed. So I'm just waiting for. And I think this is it. Stay. Co-host meeting in session.
There it is.
You need to go in the breakout session, correct? Oh, you're muted. Placing you now. share. Share.
Hey, Jim, we're back.
So when we get enough people in here, counting board member. Well, when we get enough people in here, Dr. Wright, we'll need a motion to return to open session.
Just
but
let me
not
know. We also
quite
have to
yet.
bring our first case
Correct.
back in, correct? Because
Well,
we
he
had
should.
I just emailed him, so I would anticipate him joining momentarily.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5.
You did not pay this for Katie, right?
Hold on.
6. I think we're waiting on Miss Richardson.
Did you want me still muted?
Dr. Elston, we're getting ready to start with you in just a couple of minutes. We're waiting on, I think,
Okay.
one board member to pop back in. Also, I don't think the court reporter is back in.
I'm here. Thanks for checking.
Okay, you're for some reason listed in a different room. Do we know what where Miss Richardson is?
No, let me see if we can move her. Give me just a moment.
So the other room is gonna force close in 20 seconds. So we should have everybody pop back in about 20 seconds. Okay. So we have Miss Richardson back. So all of our board members are present. Yes. So Dr. Wright, you can continue with the MUSC Dr. Elston presentation.
Okay. I guess in this case, I will open it to Dr. Elston.
We need a motion to come into open session.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'll make this is Dr. Wright making a motion to return to open session. Is there a second?
Dr. Grove, second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? No opposition. So do you want to frame this, Bob, or do you want me to just kind of frame the history behind this, or just open it up?
Or I could do it very succinctly.
Yeah,
Sure.
I would let Dr. Elston do it so we don't put words in his mouth.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Elston. You have the floor.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We were just seeking some clarification. So, our mission, we're trying to meet the needs of the people for the most complex cases in the state, where we're the safety net, being the only academic derm department. Our biggest needs are in very complex adult medical derm and complex pediatric derm, where we need to, people call us, we need to get the patients in, we need to get them seen. So we have really the only pediatric dermatologists in the state, and together, two of them are part-time, one splits her time with research, so together they're just over 1 FTE, and the rest of it, care comes from the rest of us who see both adults and kids. So the candidate we were able to recruit was the chair in the department in Belgium, where she saw all of the complex adult and pediatric patients for a major European city. So she had the skill sets we needed, and we were able to recruit her, to come to the US. But her job here, like the rest of us who are not pediatric dermatologists board trained, won't be exclusive peds derm. Her practice, like mine and others, will probably be 85% adult, probably about 15% kids. But together, all the rest of us who are that 15% kids fill out the rest of the FTE that we need to meet the needs. So the clarification we were seeking is, when we got the approval from the board, there was a request that 50% of her time in training with us, to be sure that her practice style is in keeping with US practice style, the drugs we have, et cetera, that 50% of it be pediatrics. It was out of proportion to the percent of her practice that will be peds. She fills an important need for both. But I guess the ask is, should the training we do be reflective of the practice we're going to ask her to do, which is about an 85%, 15% split, not a 50-50. If there's any other clarification, I'm happy to.
Well, we have
provide.
Dr. Selesky was asked to review this case, and then I think there'll be some other questions from other board members.
Sure.
So with that, Dr. Selesky.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. And, I appreciate you coming and providing us with some clarification as well. I know there were some technical issues at the last conference that didn't allow for that. I think my understanding, last time when we had the opportunity to speak to the physician, was that she was going to be coming to fulfill that need for pediatric dermatology in our area.
Part of it.
Okay. My understanding of academic licensure was that my understanding of it was that they was bringing in someone that was a subspecialty to fulfill that need. So I think that's what was kind of laid out to the board.
And I assume that was probably what was behind it. I mean, she really fills two critical needs for us. Since she was, handling basically everything adult, all the complex cases, adult and kids, she fills those two needs for us. But her practice is going to be about an 85-15 split.
I think that makes a little more sense, as also in her, I don't recall that there was as much specific dermatologic training that she had prior to coming here. I believe there was some.
Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. She is not a pediatric dermatologist fellowship trained, because they don't do that in Europe. It's a different model, right? They're all just dermatologists. But some of them have done fellowships here in the US. The majority have not. but they gain extra skill because they're managing those complex cases, right? So she
So then,
was kind of a whole package for us because she could help us in both fronts.
okay, so then my understanding is that you're also trying to fulfill the need of just general dermatology within our state, and that's also the purpose of utilizing this academic license.
Yeah, and really advanced complex medical derm, which is, where we are the ones offering that, and she really helps us with both of those things.
And in brief, forgive me as I'm an emergency medicine physician, but
Okay.
can you explain the difference between complex medical derm and regular dermatology and how she is, like, I just don't, what would a regular dermatologist not be able to do that? I don't understand.
Sure. So, Jim can probably comment on that too, that we're the partners. We got a great town and gown with the state, and we're the partners. My job is taking care of anyone who the other derms in the state are having trouble managing. Right. So it's everything from scarring alopecia to dermatomyositis, lupus, blistering diseases. When patients aren't doing well somewhere in the state, they partner with us. They want me to see the patient and either help guide the therapy locally or just take over the therapy, depending how complex it is. That's a big part of what we do. So the residents refer to them as, an Elston special, the patients who are, sent in because they're complicated, right? And so, we're fortunate that we have great dermatologists across the state. I'm also a dermatopathologist, so, Dr. Chow can attest, what happens when their dermatopathologist has a question about a case. They send it down to me to take a second look at. That's kind of our role, both clinically and path, right? Is to support the rest of the dermatologists in the state. And the biggest volume of that is adult, but we have unmet need, both adult and child. And this individual coming with skills in both was a good double whammy for us that she could help with both.
And are there not others that you could recruit, maybe just a regular, like not on an academic license, but other dermatologists throughout the state or country that could come and partake in this? Why in particular would it need to be this?
Yeah, we're doing that actively as well. So we have one who I hope is going to sign with us, who we're recruiting. We've started a pediatric derm fellowship, but the truth is there are peds derm fellowships across the country. Only 5 of them filled last year. They're very, it's our head pediatric dermatologist at staff meeting said, we're afraid we're a dying subspecialty right now. The demand is there. There aren't the people to recruit. And for complex medical derm adult, we are fortunately keeping some of our own residents, one who went and did a rheumatologic derm fellowship at Harvard and came back on faculty. We're doing everything we can, but the state is growing at a pace, and the referrals we get, I already start clinic at 6:30 in the morning, and we're just trying to keep up with the, what honestly is a crushing demand for the more complex care. And so when we get, in addition to all of our efforts to retain our own residents and recruit domestically, when we get a candidate like this who was taking care of all the complex cases, it's a win for the state. We have another one you'll be seeing down the road who built and ran an entire 12-story purely derm hospital in China published in Science and Nature for his work with burns and severe blistering disease. We were able to recruit him to the States. Until recently, we sent all of our burn patients to Georgia, to Augusta. We now are trying to build the burn unit here in South Carolina, but we need that skill set. And we were able to, to recruit him. So when we have select individuals who have skill sets that honestly we can't fill the need domestically, it's a big win for the state if we can bring that kind of exceptional individual in.
Dr. Wright, I don't have any further questions.
Yeah, Jim, I think you wanted to weigh in. You're on mute.
Oh, you're muted, Jim.
You're on mute. Jim, you're on mute. Can you unmute it?
Can you
There
hear
you
me
go.
better? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thanks, Dr. Ellison, for coming here today. I think you can maybe help us to clarify. There's some confusion that Dr. Allen is not only a pediatric dermatologist, but she is a dermatologist first, a very
Correct.
well-trained, well-renowned department chairman of dermatology before she also practiced her subspecialty of pediatric derm. So she really had both to add. I think the percentage will be very difficult to cut off exactly 15%. The question I have is, now having an academic license, are you going to be the sponsor, or is the dean being the sponsor of the license?
So the request comes from the dean. So, Terry and I work really closely together to try to fill the needs. We look at the SG2 data and growth in the state and where our lag times are, where are the pain points for people trying to get patients into us. And it's, overwhelmingly the medical derm and pediatric derm. We're fortunate we have great Mohs surgeons across the state like you. But the complex medical derm and peds, those are the state's two real pain points. This individual, she didn't do a peds derm fellowship because they don't have them like that in Europe, but she did come manage all of the complicated adult and kids. So she could help fill that need for us. And, just like me and Hank Kears and a few others who, see kids to adults, the way it breaks down is, about 15% of each of our practices are helping with the kids. But all of us doing that is a greater FTE than we have in board certified pediatric dermatologists. We're all on board to help with the lift.
So she really is a bonus. So in addition to her PD.
Correct.
So would she be doing any clinical research or bench research in addition to her clinical duties?
So, we have those opportunities and we're building those. So with Kim Hashemi having come back from Harvard now, we're, we were really, really good with pediatric clinical trials. Now we're building the adult ones to the same extent. And yes, she absolutely will be involved in that. And then the other candidate you'll be hearing about in a few months, I mean, that's one of his greatest strengths is that he's a world leader in burn and blistering disease research. So they bring both to the
She being a Belgian national, I'm sure she had been to U.S. many times. Will she be working initially with your faculty to learn the ins and out of the EMRs and the way we do things?
And coding.
Thank you.
And all of those things, absolutely. And we want to be sure when anyone joins us that the level of practice, style of practice is something we can be proud of and is an MUSC standard so that when you refer a patient in, you know the level of care they're going to get. So it's going to be at least a year working with me one-on-one, and Kim, also Katie Lynham, who specializes in hidradenitis suppurativa. Some of the tougher things to be sure that, before she goes into more independent practice, I mean, she is just like the rest of the faculty and brings in that level. So, the main recruitment was for medical derm. The big bonus was that she does kids as well and has significant experience there. So it was an add-on.
Understand. I have read her credentials. She's very impressive. I think we're fortunate to have somebody here in South Carolina. I certainly agree she should proceed with the board side.
And so you had already granted the academic license. It was just the training requirement that we were a little surprised, 50% kids, and we assumed it was a misunderstanding of what her practice was going to be.
And I think it was a misunderstanding. And thank you very much, Dr. Ellison, for explaining this, because also the request came kind of like she was filling a pediatric need. And now I understand a little bit better in listening to you and Dr. Chow that it's more of a complex need that overlaps.
Correct. That is both adults and kids.
And it's not bringing in just a general dermatologist, that this is someone that specializes in complex dermatology.
Yeah. And that's really the international people we bring in will all be that level.
So I would make a motion after hearing from you that we lift the restriction on the percentage of patients and let Dr. Elon, I believe it is, practice, dermatology under her academic license. Is there a
second that? That's Charles second.
Any further discussion?
And then you probably want me to log off for the vote, right?
Dr. Wright, it does look like Dr. Hockman's raising his hand, so I'm not sure if he has something he wanted to add.
Yeah, Dr. Hockman.
Dr. Hockman, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I would like to have some discussion about this, because the dean's letter and your letter, Dirk, were very specifically asking for pediatric dermatology, very specifically. And when we spoke to the physician, she mentioned that she really doesn't have any special training. And you now have mentioned that she will be supervised and trained in a lot of things to make sure she's up to the level. So the academic license is supposed to bring in expert specialists that are not available in our state. And it seems like this is almost being used as a back door to bring in somebody who you just need to fill, as opposed to what the letter specifically and the candidate specifically said.
Okay, I can clarify, because when we got the training requirement, the first thing we did is Terry Steyer and I, looked at the letter and said, where did this come from? The letter calls out needs of the state, including peds derm, because it is our single biggest pain point. And, one of the benefits of this candidate is that she had significant experience managing both the complex adults and kids at the university, because there was no one else to do it. That's what she's been doing. But I mean, I think she was clear.
Why not just make her do 100% peds, and then you would fill a very grave need that you have, and then hire other general people like you've mentioned before?
Well, so a larger percentage of pediatrics, was discussed with our pediatric dermatologists. Their hands are full with bringing in another fellowship candidate and seeing the patients. there was strong objection on their part to putting the burden on them to train this person 50% of the time when they were trying to train their fellow, our residents, the pediatric residents. We would never ask for an academic license for someone who's not a university level individual who offers care that can't be found in the rest of the state. The people we're bringing in are people who are university level, used to handling the most complex cases. They are the safety net, they're the referral base, and they augment our ability to serve that need for the state.
I don't think anybody's questioning her credentials. I mean, the whole issue is about the percentage of her practice, which we were led to believe that she was filling a peds derm role. So the compromise was to say, okay, well, at least 50% do peds. And if you're saying that she needs actual further training, so is she really the expert that you're claiming her to be? And if she is, then why not just say she's your new pediatric dermatologist and fill that role?
Well, so in Europe, Europe and the Gulf and those areas, when they have the means, they send someone to the U.S., to University of Chicago with Amy Paller or someone else to do a peds derm fellowship, but very few people in Europe are fellowship trained in dermatopathology or pediatric. It's just not the way their system is. But they, at the university level, they're managing those complex cases. So she fills a definite need for us, a percentage of which is pediatrics. We don't want to misrepresent that she's fellowship trained as a pediatric dermatologist. It's just our biggest pain point. We always want to call out that that's, one of our biggest needs is adult and kids. She's not a pediatric dermatologist, but she handles kids cases well beyond what the community derms would handle, because she was at the university. She was it for both adults and kids. So she does bring a level of expertise, you might say intermediate between a practicing dermatologist and a pediatric dermatologist. It really helps fill that gap for us. But to put her to work 100% as a pediatric derm undermines our fellowship and our ability for our faculty to put their time into the fellows. And again, with only 5 pediatric derm fellowships in the country having filled, we're lucky we're going to be one of ours that are filled. They don't want our fellowship to fail in any way. They want to put their full emphasis behind that. So part of her time will be with kids, absolutely. But for them to take her on like a fellow when they already have a fellow coming in is, frankly, they said that was that was the wrong thing to do.
Dr. Elston, this is Scott Dilts, one of the board members. So your testimony is really confusing, sir. You're bringing her in as an academic appointee. Shouldn't she be teaching the peds derm fellow? I mean,
she's going to be.
Academic people do, right? Well, why would the peds dermatologist have to train her like a fellow, which you just said? You said those very words.
Well, so she has experience and expertise beyond that of what any average dermatologist would have, because of being at the university and managing all of the complex adults and kids. She is not fellowship trained as a pediatric dermatologist. We have had, so to expand our peds derm, we have an APP who works with our pediatric dermatologist with a more limited scope of practice. We get feedback from people across the state that, they sent this person in specifically with a peds derm referral. They really want one of our 3 peds derms, right? They don't want them to see the APP. But we also have lots and lots of other complex peds patients that we, the predominantly adult dermatologists, help to manage. There's no way that our pediatric dermatologists could fill the state's need. So we try to sort out, getting the right patient to the right provider at the right time. There are certain patients that should go to our peds derms. And then there are a lot of kids who are more complex than the community derms handle. And there are lots of community derms who are adult only. They don't even see kids. So the rest of us help fill that need I'm not a pediatric dermatologist. I see kids. I'm actually really good at managing a lot of the complex pediatric issues in derm, but I wouldn't sell myself as a pediatric dermatologist. I'm just a very good, experienced derm who does complex adults as well as kids. She fits that kind of bill.
I think the confusion is she's not being brought in. Well, initially, we didn't hear this testimony that we're hearing now. She's being brought in not as a pediatric dermatologist, but as someone that's expertise in complex medical dermatology. And as Dr. Chow has said, she's more than qualified and more qualified than other individuals in our state to fill that niche as a
correct. And she also does kids as a bonus.
But it happens to be in both adults and children. So
correct.
And
that's a fair way to describe it.
And what I'm also hearing that there isn't a glut of these individuals that manage complex dermatology. She's not being brought in to compete with dermatologists in South Carolina, being brought in to handle cases that the other dermatologists of South Carolina are referring as complex cases. So that's
all of the above
that's more in line of what an academic license would be for. So I don't think she's being trained per se at what we're saying, but I hope I'm fairly summarizing that. And
no, that's absolutely correct.
And we've already granted her license, academic license, but we put a contingent on that 50% of the patients had to be pediatric. But there's not that many pediatric complex dermatology cases. For her to meet that, we'd actually be taking pediatric dermatology patients away from where they should be.
That was the concern from our peds derms, was getting the right patient to the right physician at the right time.
So the motion at this point is just to lift that restriction and she limit her practice to complex medical dermatology, either adult or
correct, and all ages, we could say. It's complex medical derm, but all ages.
Is that fair, Jim?
Yes, it is. I think Dr. Hockman's point is well made. We just want to make sure we don't have people come to the state of South Carolina through back door. They end up practicing medicine to enrich the institution rather than do the right thing, because we definitely, in this case, we definitely have a great shortage of this type of this kind of physicians, and we had assurance from you that this person will stay in an academic capacity.
Correct.
She will teach residents, she will take care of complex cases. That certainly is intent. What will happen after 3 years? 3 years from now, her license will become permanent. Is she going to stay with the university? Do you have some kind of assurance she will not go into private practice?
Yeah, so two parts to that. One is She's highly motivated to get her U.S. boards. In order to get her U.S. boards, she has to be working with the university for 5 years before she can start to take the core exams for the U.S. board. That process, goes another 2 years. So, minimum she'd be with us for 7. And in Europe, she could have made a lot more money in private practice. She already chose a university practice. She wanted to teach and take care of more complex patients. That's why she chose to work at the university and take that job. And that's not going to, who she is isn't going to change.
Sam,
So again,
thank you for that clarification.
I would make the motion to lift the restriction or the condition of having to see 50% pediatric patients. But I would think that we can get a report from the dean in a year just assuring us that she's seeing complex medical dermatology patients and staying.
That will not be hard because she's going to be working with me, and that's what I do.
Is there a second to that motion? Okay.
I second.
Any other discussion?
Well, I guess I just have a question, Dr. Wright. Are we able to discuss this in closed session?
We can, if you want. We can go into executive session.
I would appreciate that if possible.
All right, Bob, you're going to have to move us into executive session.
And I'll sign off, but if you want me back for any further questions, just shoot me an email and then I'll sign back on. Okay?
Sure. Bob, are you there? Can't hear
Yeah,
you.
we're
work
working
on
on it.
getting
You're gonna
Okay.
get a little message to break out.
And Jim, you can be in this session because it's not
Okay.
there's no conflict.
That's Sam.
Hey, Dr. Wright, I think you have a invitation.
I got it. I'm clicking on it, but it's not doing anything. Oh, I see it. Got it.
Dr. Hockman, did you get a breakout session invite in the middle of the screen?
No, I did not. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
It just stood.
Perfect. Mika, it looks like everyone who got over there got from there.
Can you check one more time for me? I think I moved everybody that need to.
It looks like it. I don't see anyone else in here who is supposed to be over there. Because our court reporters and I don't
Okay.
Okay.
join that one.
So court don't go into breakout
Yeah,
session.
I went
because
ahead and
it's
left where I
executive
was not
session.
supposed to be.
Gotcha.
Yep,
All right.
you're right where you're supposed to be. We just typically if we're in person, we would leave the
Yeah.
room and they'd come and open that door and let us know we're good. So we are
Yeah.
right where we are supposed to be. They're getting legal advice.
Goodness
If
is-
any of us sit in there, we have to be deposed if there is anything.
Yeah.
Who's
Then
missing
we'll be
Bob?
witnesses, and I don't want to be a witness to anything.
Yep.
Who misses something? Oh,
Hi, Jessica, we're back.
Sounds great. Okay, do you all want Dr. Elston back in here? You give me just a moment, I'll get him. He should be joining any moment. Dr. Elston, we got you back in.
Okay.
Dr. Wright, I
Dr.
think
Wright,
you're
you're
on
on mute.
Sorry. So the motion, there's a motion for us to return from executive session into open session. Is there a second?
Dilts second.
Okay. And the motion we'd like to present at this time to the board is that the conditions initially applied remain in place for the next year, and that Dr. Elson and MUSC, the dean, come back to the board in February of 27 to show us that 50% over the past year of her practice is pediatric dermatology. Is there a second?
Grove second.
Dr. Hockman, second. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Dr. Elston, we appreciate your comments. However, the board is somewhat concerned and would like to see that this individual does practices both adult and pediatric, but maintains that the dean had requested, pediatric expertise, and that doesn't have to be day to day, but over the course of a full year, that the patient, the physician's practice be somewhat managed so that over the course of a year, 50% of the patients are pediatric and 50% are adult.
Okay.
And that's the motion.
We'll comply with whatever the board wants.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming before the board. Thank you. So this
Okay.
matter is closed. Thanks.
Okay,
See you in a
thanks.
year.
Bye. Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, next on the agenda, do we have the individual before us?
Yes, sir. Dr. Smith is in the room.
Dr. Smith. Okay.
Dr. Smith, you are muted.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Smith, do you have counsel representing you today, or are you with us pro se?
I do not have counsel.
Okay. And are you fine to proceed without counsel?
I am.
Okay. Bob, Mr. Horner, we'll just open the floor to Dr. Smith. Is that correct?
We need to have him sworn.
Needs to be
in.
sworn.
Yeah.
Dr. Smith, please state and spell your first and last name.
My name is Scott Smith.
Normal spelling, SCOTTSMITH.
That is correct.
Thank you. Dr. Smith, please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay,
Dr. Wright?
Dr. Smith. Yes.
Dr. Wright,
Oh.
this is Prentice Shealy. I can give the board a quick procedural history for the motion to reconsider before we begin, if that's
That would
wanted.
be helpful. Thank you.
So we are here in the matter of Dr. Scott Smith, case 2023-224 or 254, excuse me, on a motion to reconsider the board's final order. I would ask that the following be attached as exhibits to the hearing. The MOA, the final order, the transcript of the hearing. The respondent asked that his PowerPoint presentation be included as exhibits to the hearing. He came before the board on November 3rd of 2025 with an MOA. Prior to the MOA, his license was active and he was under no board conditions. He was investigated by the DEA. They suspended his registration after prescribing allegations with either no license or without a waiver in 11 states. This involved a telemedicine ketamine practice, and the DEA found issue with 2,224 prescriptions. At the time of the MOA, he had been disciplined by 30 states. An expert for the board reviewed the records of his 6 South Carolina patients and found that he did not meet the standard of care. That expert review is attached to Exhibit 6 of the MOA, which is page 749. Reference. The respondent agreed to the facts in the MOA and agreed that they were violations of B9, engaging in dishonorable, unethical, unprofessional conduct likely to deceive, defraud, or harm the public. B17, failing to maintain an adequate patient record. And then 40-1-110-1B, that he was disciplined in another state. After a lengthy hearing, the board issued the following sanctions. They publicly reprimanded respondent, said no telemedicine for 3 years from the date of the order, that he be required to take a 2-day record-keeping course, imposed a $20,000 fine and cost in the amount of $3,000. That order has been issued, and the respondent has asked to appear today to ask you to reconsider that order and those sanctions. And I will turn it over to Dr. Smith for his appeal.
Dr. Smith?
Thank you. Members of the board, I want to focus on one issue today because it's the issue that had a significant influence on how the evidence has been understood. At my prior proceeding, the state's attorney introduced his personal experience about receiving a very high dose of ketamine used for surgery during closing remarks. He described hallucinatory effects he found disturbing
and stated that he did not understand why anyone would ever want to be treated with that medication. Those comments were made immediately before the board deliberated on my discipline. These comments were not evidence, they were not expert testimony, and the comments were medically inaccurate. I was seated only a few feet away from him, and I observed his tone change from advocacy to moral judgment. And most importantly, he associated his high surgical dose experience with my practice of medicine and the experience of my patients. And that association is not medically accurate. My practice involved very low doses of the medicine commonly used to treat depression. I started patients at the lowest dose possible and titrated up slowly over months. From a medical standpoint, the two treatments are not comparable. My patients were portrayed as individuals seeking hallucinatory or psychedelic experiences, which misrepresents both the medicine and the care that I provided. That characterization has the effect of invalidating every patient that I treated, invalidating my practice of medicine, and misrepresenting the facts and the reality of my medical practice. So I want to be very clear. No patient I treated in South Carolina was harmed. There's no evidence that any patient sought treatment for recreational use. I routinely queried the controlled substance monitoring database, and my records document conservative dosing, monitoring, and the clinical response of my patients. Throughout these proceedings, I've been presented with hypothetical concerns about what might have happened. The board's conclusions and the resulting effect on my ability to practice medicine should proceed from evidence, not speculation related to this. If there's evidence of harm or diversion, I've asked repeatedly for it to be presented. None has been presented. There's also a second issue that matters. The expert assigned to evaluate my care had no experience administering ketamine and had no experience caring for patients with treatment-resistant depression. That did not help the board in determining the truth of this matter. Independent research supports the careful use of low-dose ketamine for patients with severe depression and suicidality. My own patient outcomes reflect that benefit. Those outcomes were documented in portions of the medical record that were not meaningfully evaluated during the proceedings. If the board believes it would be helpful, I can produce those records immediately. Finally, I'd like to address the discipline itself. 3 years without prescribing controlled substances and 3 years without telemedicine, combined with the 3 years that this process has taken, amounts to 6 years of professional exclusion. Telemedicine is now a standard component of primary care. A prohibition on its use makes meaningful practice for me nearly impossible and prevents me from supporting myself or even paying the assessed fine. I would also note that the board imposed a civil fine of $20,000. I'm prepared to comply with that sanction, but when it's combined with the restrictions that prevent me from practicing medicine in any meaningful way, the discipline creates a situation where compliance becomes practically impossible rather than corrective. I'm not asking for any validation or vindication. I'm asking for proportionality, accuracy, and fairness based on the evidence, not based on misunderstanding. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. We have a few questions, and we'll have the board members also ask you some questions. So I appreciate your statement and your concerns. You entered into a memorandum of agreement with a stipulation of certain facts, and we have that as entered into evidence. Are you now refuting anything within the memorandum of agreement?
I felt like I had to agree to those things to make the procedure move forward.
So
I discussed this with the state attorney, and he said, if you sign this you have to sign this agreement, or else we're going to do an evidentiary hearing that's public open to the public. And so I signed the agreement. I don't want to retry this. I don't want to go over the facts again. What's done is done. I was presented with an insurmountable situation when the DEA confronted me. They told me to address this with every medical board involved, and that was over 40 medical boards. I knew immediately that my only option was to surrender my license and just comply with what every state asked. It would have taken $20-30 million in the rest of my life to address this the way that I think it should be addressed. And it's just not possible in the real world. And so I'm not asking you to go over the facts again. I'm not asking you to overturn anything in what I've already signed. I'm just saying that the discipline that's been meted out is out of proportion based on the facts. I would be happy if the both instances of the 3-year exclusions are kept in place, but enacted when I submitted my self-report to the South Carolina Medical Board. And that was 3 years ago.
Anyone else have any other questions from board members? You're on mute, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
that was my fault. I had myself muted and didn't realize it. I just want, so when was the last time you actually did any telemedicine?
I didn't do any telemedicine after I self-reported to the medical board. I've worked doing disability chart review, and I've been volunteering at the Medical University of South Carolina Charity Clinic in Charleston, South Carolina. I've shared my experience with the residents and students and warned them not to proceed in a manner that I did.
Any other questions?
Hey, this is the lawyer. I don't see where you have a DEA or DHEC registration currently. Is that correct?
That's correct. The DEA, when I spoke with the DEA, they told me, we want you to address this with every medical board. If you dispute this with us in our administrative court, you will never get your DEA license back. So what we want you to do is address this with every medical board. And when that is resolved, you can come back to us and request reinstatement of your DEA license.
Is this the last board? Is this the last board you have? Sorry.
That's
Is
correct.
South Carolina
That's
the-
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. This is the very last. And for any of you that don't know, and there are a couple other states where I've gone through proceedings and they validated my practice and told me that they appreciated my practice, and I have an unrestricted license to practice in those states. So this is an issue that I didn't understand when I started into it, that it was a lightning rod issue. I just thought science was on my side and I was doing the right thing. And I didn't give any thought to what the majority of the medical community thought about this treatment. At the time that I started, it was not accepted by probably 90% of the medical community, and that's changed over the last 3 years with time.
Doctor, in the memorandum of agreement and in other documents, I see a whole list of states, as you said, and they're either mandatory suspension, surrendered, or allowed to expire while under investigation. You're just saying now that you have other states besides South Carolina where you maintain a license. What states are those?
Washington State, Montana, and I'm sorry, it's a very long list. There's one other state that approved and I let it drop. I think it was Nebraska. Washington State, Montana, and Nebraska. Washington State contacted me on their own after I submitted a letter to them saying I would surrender my license. And they said, Dr. Smith, we want to hear this story straight from your mouth. We don't make decisions based on what other states say. I submitted the information to them, And they wrote me a letter that said, "We understand this occurred during the pandemic when laws changed back and forth. We are not disciplining you, and we are disposing this matter with the reminder to you that in the future you need to carefully comply with all controlled substance prescribing laws. Every time I surrendered a license in another state, I had to submit that information to Washington State. And every time I did, they wrote me another letter from the medical board that said, we have investigated this matter in another state, and we see no reason to investigate it further in Washington State." And so this is a medical practice that when I started with it, it was not understood at all by most of the medical community. There's been a little bit better understanding over the last 3 years, but it's still not widely accepted. And there's a lot of negative baggage just with the name for the medicine. And so in hindsight, I felt like I was doing a good thing. My life had been affected by suicide of people in my life. This medicine prevents suicide. The independent research that I submitted to the board shows, based on patients in my practice, that this medicine resolves suicidality within a 2-month period. And 30% of the people I took care of struggled with suicidality, and this medicine helped. And so there's a future, maybe 10 or 20 years from now, where primary care doctors could treat people with treatment-resistant depression and suicidality with doses of ketamine to take it home. And the medicine treats suicidality.
Any other questions from the board?
Dr. Smith, have you made application to the DEA yet?
I have not, because I'm not finished with the proceedings in South Carolina.
Okay.
And I've complied with everything else that the DEA told me. They told me not to make any public comment about this. I was a physician that was providing teaching to an internet group with 30,000 people in it, people with treatment-resistant depression that were seeking treatment. I was involved in helping that group and teaching them for a year before I started this practice. And so I've just wanted to comply. From day one, I knew this was an insurmountable situation. I had no choice. There was nothing I could do to work this out in the real world. In the real world. If I had $30 million and all the time in the world, would I have gone through every state and tried to work this out? Maybe. In hindsight, I would never do this again. I would never do this again. I was naive in that I didn't consider what the majority opinion of the medical community was. That thought never occurred to me. I thought, I have a background in this. I know a lot about this medicine. I've been trained in the use of this medicine, and I've had specialized training, and this medicine saves lives. And during the pandemic, when the laws suddenly changed, I thought, this is an opportunity to set this into motion and save people's lives with low doses of this medicine. And that's why I did it. And would I do it again? No, because it's destroyed my career. It's destroyed my marriage. And I'm starting over. And I would like to have a chance to start over. I would like to have a chance at a redemption arc in my life. The Medical University of South Carolina Charity Clinic has offered me a job as the director of the clinic. But I can't do that without being able to do telemedicine at least. I could do that without a DEA license. But if you said, Dr. Smith, what are you going to do now? I would say, I would like to do that. I would like to share my experience with the students and residents at the Medical University of South Carolina and teach them about family practice and provide care to underserved people here in Charleston.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have one more, I think.
Oh,
If you
good.
want to be brief. Dr. Smith, do you have any med mal history?
Any what, sir?
medical malpractice history? Have you
No,
ever been
sir.
sued?
I have over 30 years in practice with accolades, no history of discipline or any previous problems.
Yes, sir. When was the last time you did any type of hospital medicine or had privileges at a hospital?
I was privileged at Roper St. Francis until 2020 or 2021 or 2022.
Okay.
During the
Had you ever
COVID
been brought
pandemic,
before the,
during the
had you ever had to
COVID
appear
pandemic,
before
I
the
worked
medical
at
executive? Go ahead, sir.
during the COVID pandemic, I worked at Somerville Hospital, admitting patients with COVID and caring for patients on the COVID wards.
Oh, well, thanks for
I
that.
worked
Thank
in
you for that. That
hospice
was a
as well
difficult
on the
time.
weekends. I worked at the Roper St. Francis Hospice Cottage on the weekends. During the pandemic, the youngest person that I took care of that died of COVID was 34 years old.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a tough time for all of us who were working. Had you ever been brought before any medical executive committees with any care concerns or prescribing concerns at any of the
No,
hospitals you
never.
ever had privileges at?
No, never. I went to Oral Roberts University. I'm an elder in the Presbyterian Church. I believe in doing the right thing. And
Yes,
the
sir.
reason that I did this was because I thought it was the right thing to do. I know better now. I understand better how the real world works.
No further questions, Mr. President.
Okay, Ms. Prentice?
Just briefly, I'll just note that any statement that was made by the state should be considered harmless error. The final order did not mention the statements the final order was based on the findings of fact, and the conclusions of law makes no mention of the statements that there was plenty in the record to make the ruling and sanctions that you did, but I will leave it in your discretion on the motion to reconsider.
Dr. Smith, a closing statement?
I would like to thank the medical board for this chance to explain myself once again. Again, I don't want to retry the whole thing. I think I can be of use to the state of South Carolina and to underserved patients if you gave reconsideration to the extent of the discipline that has been meted out in this instance. And I hope I've explained myself in a logical fashion that would make that possible.
Thank you. I make a motion now that we go into executive session for legal advice to consider
second.
what we've just heard.
Still second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so the motion is unanimous. Doctor, what that means is we're going to go into a private session, just board members with our attorney to discuss the findings and the application of the law. So we'll get back with you.
I understand. Thank you.
Good morning, Scott. This is Michael with Endeavor.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm not sure what that was here. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must be unmuted. I'm sorry.
No, no problem at all. I just want to make sure you weren't uh that we didn't have someone unexpectedly join. Sorry about that.
I muted myself. I'm sorry.
Hi, Jess. We're back. We're coming back.
Let me know
Sounds great.
when we can
Thanks.
proceed.
It looks like we have almost everyone. We just need Dr. Chow. And
Did he drop off? Was he in the executive session? Okay.
He was.
Yeah, I don't see him here.
Oh, there he is.
there we go.
He's on.
All right. First, I'll make a motion that we come out of executive session into open session. Is there a second?
Grove second.
Dilts second. Okay, yeah, Grove.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay. All right. Dr. Smith, thank you very much for your testimony. We've considered everything you told us, and I think the 3 years that you've gone without doing telemedicine satisfy our requirement, and I will make a motion to lift the telemedicine restriction from our order, but the other components of our order will remain in place. And also like tell you that there were no statements made by counsel or anyone else that impacted our decision. Our decision was based solely on the facts of the case in the memorandum of agreement and the investigation and then the record. And our decision today is based on the facts and also taking into account that it has been 3 years and that we're considering that you'll safely use telemedicine in your practice. So with that, the motion is to lift the restriction on telemedicine from the order. Is there a second?
Dilts second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. So Dr. Smith, thank you very much for appearing today. And as I said before, our decision either today or before was not based in any way on any statements made by the council or anyone else. They were based solely on the facts, and we appreciate it and wish you well in your practice.
Thank you very much for your consideration. I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. We'll consider this matter closed.
Good luck, Dr. Smith.
Thank you.
All right. So now we have someone in the lobby. I saw our next person in the lobby.
Yes, he is. We just admitted him.
Is this Mr.
Dr.
Brown?
Henderzak.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Hey, Jess, are we off YouTube? So we need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll
with
make a
this.
motion. I'll make a motion to go into closed session. This is Dr. Wright. Is there a second?
Hockman second.
Okay, all
So
in
give
favor?
us- Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Give us 1 second to make sure we're
Give me just some moment to
off
confirm here.
YouTube.
Doctor, what
Gotta
that
get off
means is we're just the public the public can listen in on our meetings, but now we're closing it for you, protection of your information.
Give me just a moment to confirm.
We are still on YouTube at the moment.
IT is working on it. Give us
Okay,
just a moment.
just-
And while we're waiting for that, Jessica, so the 1045 case we skipped over, or is that been canceled?
The 1045 ended up being continued. So
Okay.
to me, they asked us just to do that this morning.
That's fine.